having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
What the fuck did you just say?
And he needs to be stopped.
Oh.
There's atrazine throughout our water supply. If you, in a lab, put atrazine in a tank full of frogs, it will feminize every frog in there.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
And 10% of the male frogs will turn into fully viable females able to produce viable eggs. If it's doing that to frogs, there's a lot of other evidence that it's doing it to human beings as well.
Hi, what up, Joe?
You scared me. I was sleeping.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to wake you.
No, you're all good, man. What's the call for?
Me and Donnie want to know what's the ice cream shop you go to.
You're with Donald, not cool, man. You know how I feel about him?
Listen, Joe, we were.
No, save it. You and Donald can go fuck yourself while you're at it. Maybe you can ask your husband to fuck you as well. You're not fooling anyone when you tell people he is a girl.
Oh, damn, that's a burn.
How about you shut the fuck up and go trip on more stairs?
Classic.
Your wife looks like one of Shaq's sons.
Sleepy Joe got you there, Obama. We all know she is a dude.
Fuck you, Donald.
I'm going to lay down between two men. Some of my gay friends, two of them, each on the end of each of the two beds that were facing me. And I'm against the desk like this. And this guy said, and he was from New York, he said, "Get down on your knees." So I did, and blew him from the middle out and the bottom up. And so I stepped back. I said, "Oh, gentlemen, okay, please cream on my face." He said, "We must and we can come together." Here's what he said. What I said to him, actually. I decided I want to be bent over in the bathroom gasping for air. You're a big guy. It leaves a gigantic hole. A gaping hole. And that's okay. I'm a big boy. I'm gay.
Mike Tyson, have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
If he identifies as a female, should he be allowed to enter a boxing match with a biological female?
Well, the short answer is yes, somebody who is trans.
Okay.
After 20 fights, I was undefeated. Only one fighter stood between me and the belt.
You got this chick. She's nothing.
Tiffany Stone! But beyond that, it's a microwave relay system that can manipulate.
High-five radiation opens up your blood-brain barrier. And so all these toxins that are in your body can now go into your brain.
Every time I bring up a f***ing subject, you know all about it.
Yeah, of course. What is it?
You know, I'm not going to get into it. The point is that
they took male frogs, gave them atrazine.
God f***ing damn it! I'm getting pissed now.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then
available.
And homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, I've got to start out with this one. This was the funniest thing I saw all fucking week.
Do you want to know one of the saddest realizations I recently had?
I would love to hear this.
Was that as a liberal woman, it is really hard to find a man who is willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age, who is not a conservative.
You don't say.
A man who wants to pay on the first date, who wants to open your door, who has that want and desire to take care of you and to provide, who is not a conservative.
And I wonder just why that is. Must be one of those big coincidences we've been having so many of lately. Oh, but it gets better.
And obviously, as a liberal woman, I do want to be respected for my independence. And I do want to have my own autonomy in the relationship and not be confined or conform to the traditional female homemaker, childbearing role.
And there it is. See, it's not just a dispute on political views, like, oh, I just can't stand when the guy starts talking about conservative stuff. She's actually saying, oh, yeah, I want a guy that's gonna open the door for me and provide for me and take care of me and play the man's part in the relationship, but I don't want to have to play the woman's part. It's like, don't you just feel wrong? I keep waiting for her to have this epiphany, this moment of realization where she goes, oh my god, I sound like a selfish fucking hypocrite. Only it doesn't happen.
And most of the men that I've dated who do have that more natural provider masculinity about them are normally conservative. So I don't really know what to do because I don't want to compromise my morals and values just to find a man. But am I asking to have my cake and eat it too?
Oh good, you're familiar with the concept. Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You're asking to have your cake and eat it too. This would be why you sound so stupid. Oh yeah, I want to find a man who brings something to the table, but I don't want to bring anything to the table other than my pretty face and the ability to suck start a leaf blower. Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but that's not gonna cut it. And now for a Pride Month update. In the wake of the whole boycotting Target thing, they decided to remove some of their Pride displays from their stores. And unsurprisingly, this really pissed off a lot of people in the alphabet community to the point where stores started getting bomb threats called in. The reporting on this has been less than accurate, though. Most of them are pretty slick in the way that they did it, unlike LGBTQ Nation, where they actually tell a blatant lie in the byline. Target stores all over the country have been getting bomb threats because the store sold Pride onesies. Now that is a factual lie. The stores weren't getting bomb threats because they sold them. The stores were getting bomb threats because they were pulling down some of the displays. Let's look at the USA Today headline. Bomb threats made against Target stores in Utah, Ohio, and Pennsylvania over Pride controversy. And they don't try to imply that it was one side or the other that made these bomb threats. They probably just assumed that people would automatically point their finger at the domestic violent extremists on the right, because that's the biggest terrorist threat we face, right? Or what about the Washington Post? Target stores see more bomb threats over Pride merchandise. Locations in at least 5 states were evacuated this weekend, and no explosives were discovered. And even The Hill. Target stores in at least 5 states receive bomb threats over Pride items. Now, if you actually go through the article and take the time to read it, which a lot of people are too fucking lazy to do, you would see that, oh, it was actually people that were pissed off that they were taking the displays down, not the people that were pissed off and boycotting. They weren't going, boycotting isn't enough, we need to call in bomb threats. No, no, no. It was the other side doing it. But they know that most of the people that just peruse through their headlines are idiots, and also a lot of them are just gonna jump to the assumption this must be those evil right-wingers. Why can't they just let these poor alphabet people exist? It's a perfect example of lying by structure, wherein they get to be deceptive but with plausible deniability to later go, well, I wasn't trying to be deceptive. I mean, if people jump to the wrong conclusion, that's not our fault. And they've done it cleverly in a way that nobody can prove otherwise. There was also this little Pride event that they held at the White House, where you had a couple of influencers decide to go topless, and after a whole bunch of backlash, now they are banned from returning to the White House ever again. And I'll admit, when I first saw the video of this, I was like, wow, that's a really? That's passable. But then you see a picture showing below the waist, and you see that bulge, and it's like, oh my
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
But regardless, this dipshit goes, oh, I'm just gonna pull my titties out here on the White House lawn and it's gonna be just fine. And then when it ended up being a problem and you're not gonna be invited back to the White House ever again, oh, well now it's time to whine about being oppressed again.
Help, help, I'm being repressed!
It's crazy. It's like there's been so much deference given to these people the past few years, despite them being so horribly oppressed, that they just seem to think that you can do anything and it's fine because you're trans.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
But apparently we're not that far down the rat hole yet. Give it another year or two and this will probably be a normal fucking thing that happens. And isn't it a little weird how, oh yeah, you can parade naked in front of kids all you want, but my god, not the White House lawn. Apparently that's where we still draw the line. And speaking of kids, there was a group of middle schoolers up in Massachusetts that are so bigoted they decided to do a hate crime. Because we all know what a hotbed Massachusetts is of right-wing extremism. You know, this is the kind of story that warms my cold, dead heart just a little bit, and actually gives me a little bit of hope for future generations. Of course, it's being reported as an awful display of bigotry and intolerance. But really, it was just these kids didn't want to shove down their fucking throats. And I love the way this article reads. It starts out talking about how the students stormed the school's pride celebration and destroyed rainbow decorations. And the young protesters charged through Marshall Simmons Middle School in Burlington on June 2nd because the school had encouraged its students to show their pride by wearing rainbow clothing. That's all they did. They weren't trying to shove it down their throats. They were just encouraging them, you know, if you want to, wear some rainbow stuff. And these evil, bigoted kids got mad. But then you read further down in the article, most of the students accepted and wore the rainbow flag stickers that were offered by school administrators until they noticed their peers ripping them off and throwing them on the floor. Well, that's funny. I thought they just encouraged it. And now you're saying that you had faculty members passing this shit out to them? Over the course of the day, you could actually see a reduction in the number of students walking around in rainbow-colored clothing. It was really tough. So you're saying that some of these kids that were just going along trying to not get in trouble or cause trouble, they saw that you didn't actually have to do this shit and they said, well, fuck that then, I didn't want to do it anyway. And it's almost like they're trying to say that children are impressionable. Huh, how about that?
Please, Spock, do me a favor and don't say it's fascinating. No. But it is interesting.
Well, unfortunately for you idiots, these are also kids that are getting to that age of rebellion, and it seems that you were unable to adequately destroy their concepts of individuality and critical thinking. So good for these fucking kids. I love it when it talks about how the students started seeing other people throw their shit on the ground and were like, oh, well, fuck that, I didn't want to wear this anyway. It reminds me of the Ash experiments. See, back in the early 50s, they did this conformity experiment where they had a bunch of plants sit at a table and there was really only one test subject. And they just wanted to see if all these people gave the wrong answer to something, would the last person go along with it just to not rock the boat, even though it was obviously the wrong answer? And they did it very simply with these lines. It was clear which line matched, but they would have these people give the wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer, and then it got to you, and what are you going to do? Are you going to go along to get along, or are you going to be the rebel? And they found that a little over a third of the time, 36.5%, people would go along with what they knew to be wrong just because the group said. And they did this study multiple times, and they always found it to be roughly about a third of the time people would just go along to get along. And even more interestingly, they found that when they had even one of the control subjects actually give the right answer, and then 4 people give the wrong answer, the conformity went down to almost none. All they needed was one person brave enough to give the right answer, and even though the majority of them were given the wrong answer, it was like at least they weren't the only one. That's why I say these kids remind me of this experiment, because bravery is contagious, and all it takes is seeing one person willing to say, "Now fuck that." Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video, or leaving a comment. Because every time you do nothing, Vladimir Putin will shoot another puppy. And now for some politics news. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went on Joe Rogan's podcast this past week to spew some of his vile conspiracy theories. Like that it was the CIA that killed his dad and his uncle.
Well, no fucking shit.
And of course the left-leaning media decided to pitch a hissy fit over it. Spotify has stopped even sort of trying to stem... What kind of headline is that? Stopped even sort of trying. It's so funny to me when stupid people decide to write the way they talk. Spotify has stopped even sort of trying. And this is from a news outlet that's slowly collapsing and laying people off left and right. I guess she's trying to make a splash by writing her headlines in Valley Girl. Meanwhile, the Uniparty and media establishment are trying to pretend like this guy doesn't fucking exist, because in a lot of polls, he's actually surging ahead past Biden.
No shit.
Which is really hard to figure out. I mean, he's such a popular president who's accomplished so much.
What a bunch of fucking bullshit.
I mean, even if you were dumb enough to actually believe that, how can you listen to the dude talk and actually think that he's still all there? He was given some remarks the other day, and apparently he decided to go off script, and his handlers were all off to the side of the stage like, "No, no!" But he starts rambling about braces on guns and how you put a brace on a pistol and you can shoot a higher caliber bullet.
Made it harder for people to buy stabilized braces. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, a higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun.
It's hard to even think of something more ridiculous. And then he decides to conclude his remarks with this.
All right, God save the Queen, man.
Yeah, first of all, dipshit, you're in Connecticut. Second of all, what queen? The queen is dead. This fucking waterhead is the leader of the free world. Oh, but of course we've got other rising stars in that party, right? Like the cackling, word salad spewing dipshit vice president. Or how about that up-and-coming, newly minted Pennsylvania senator? He got asked to give remarks this past week about the I-95 bridge collapse in Philadelphia.
The tragic accident in on I-95, and if you want to make any comments with respect to that, feel free, you're recognized.
No, I would just really like to, the 95,
Holy fucking shit. Yeah, no wonder they want to pretend like RFK Jr. doesn't exist. And then on the other side, you had Trump turning himself in on Tuesday, getting arrested at the Miami courthouse where he never actually saw a jail cell. And the news had non-stop breaking news coverage of it like it was an ongoing terrorist attack or a hostage situation. One person who actually did see the inside of a jail cell was this protester whose dumbass decided to jump in front of the fucking motorcade. And ironically enough, already wearing an old-timey prison outfit. Like this is fucking No Brother, Where Art Thou? And this is starting to make me a little bit suspicious. Like when he got indicted in New York, his poll numbers went up. Now did they really think that this time it was gonna have the opposite effect? You can say a lot about the establishment and the system, but they're not that fucking stupid. And then at the same time, you've got at least a dozen people running against him officially. And the news keeps reporting it like, oh, it's getting harder for him because now there's more people. But all they do is split the opposition vote. So it actually helps him. It's almost like the system is doing everything they can to make him the nominee, whilst having the appearance of doing everything they can to stop him. I don't know, it's just something that's been occurring to me the past few months, and I felt it needed said. And now for the Eastern Front. It seems like the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive ran headfirst into a fucking brick wall.
Well, no shit.
And while everybody keeps telling us that Putin is in bad health and he's shaking with fear and pissing himself, here's what he actually looks and sounds like.
Были леопарды. Они горят. Также будут гореть и F-16. Сомнений нет. Но если они будут располагаться на авиабазах за границей Украины, а использоваться в боевых действиях, мы должны будем посмотреть на то, как нам поражать и где нам поражать те средства, которые используются в боевых действиях против нас. Это серьезная опасность дальнейшего втягивания в НАТО в этот вооруженный конфликт.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. This guy seems like an Olympic athlete next to the crop of retards we got running things here. And did you see what he said there at the end? He's talking about attacking the F-16s wherever they're parked because he knows they're going to be sent into Ukraine. And without them, the Leopards and the Bradleys and even the Abrams aren't going to be able to match the Russian air superiority. And even the F-16s aren't enough. They're just going to get chewed up like the Leopards and Bradleys have been getting. The Russians have like 4 different fucking fighter jets that are all superior to the F-16s. We're setting the Ukrainians up to get curb stomped. Again. And now you got Medvedev threatening to cut the undersea cables because of what we did to the Nord Stream. And this is like the backbone of the internet. These cables get cut and the internet goes down. There was also a Russian-linked allegedly hacker group that came out in midweek and said they were going to take down the SWIFT banking system in the next 48 hours. And apparently, even though it's hard to confirm, it looks like there were some probing attacks, but it turned out to be a little underwhelming. But these could just be little probes, looking for chinks in the armor. And the US is also apparently trying to evacuate 80,000 citizens from Taiwan. You think something might be about to happen on that front as well? I don't know, all in all, maybe it's just the heat getting to me, but it seems like the next big shoe to drop is imminent. Sláinte.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. 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 Come on. Come on. Come on. So say good night to the bad guy. 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 So say good night. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. I told you, don't fuck with me. 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 You stupid fuck. Look at you now. Look at you now.